Hello，大家好，大家新的一周过得怎么样？那在我们开始新课之前，按照旧例，让我们一起来重点回顾一下第四课的内容。So before we started the lesson 5, we are going to review some important grammar points that have been mentioned in the lesson 4. 那在这里呢，需要跟大家提醒一下，我们每一次讲的这个重点的内容，不是说只有这些才是重点，而是说这些可能是大家掌握的还不太好的，或者是不熟悉的内容。那其他有关第四课的，其他单词的部分，也希望大家可以自己好好学习。So as a short notice for everybody, the reason why we listed these points in the review is not because those are the most important grammar points and the others they are not important. No, it is because those points are the ones that you are unfamiliar with, or maybe you need further explanations. But at the same time, you need to review other grammar points by yourselves as well. So, without further ado, we are going to start our new lesson. First of all, 顶. As we all know, 顶 is a character that has several meanings, so we are going to review it one by one. 那大家也知道，顶其实这一个字呢，是拥有很多的含义以及意义的。那让我们来一起看一下。首先是顶做名词 so when 顶 is used as a noun, it means top, peak, or roof. For example, 头顶 the top of the head. 山顶 the summit of a mountain. 楼顶 the roof of a building. 那我们最近在中文里面也常常说到的一个词是顶峰，那峰其实就是山峰的意思啊。mountain， 那顶峰呢，其实就是 the peak of the mountain，so the peak。那最近在中国有一个很常见的网络语叫做顶峰相见，it means to see each other at the peak of the mountain. So in the modern life, it always means that like two people, they say to each other, 我们顶峰相见. So both of us, we are going to work hard and we are going to see each other at the peak in our career. 顶峰相见. It's a way to show your resolution. 那这里面也给了大家一个例句，他靠着充沛的精力和天赋的才能，达到了事业的顶峰。Her energy and talent took her to the top of her profession. 这个里面大家也可以发现，其实顶峰不但可以指就是实际上的 peak of the mountain, it can also means the top of something. For example, 事业的顶峰 the top of her profession. 事业的顶峰，顶。那顶呢，它也可以当做是一个量词来用。It can also be used as a classifier. When it is used as a classifier, it is used to describe a hat or something in the shape of a hat. 那是可以形容一顶帽子或者是帽子形状的东西，比方说一顶帽子、一顶帐篷、一顶花轿 a hat, a tent, and a wedding sedan chair. 那这个在右边大家也可以看到这幅图，其实这个就是中国的花轿。This is a Chinese wedding sedan chair. So you see on the top, it is in the shape of the hat or shape of the umbrella. So we are going to use 一顶花轿. And as a verb, it has several meanings as well. So first of all, it means carry on the head. Carry something on the head. For example, as illustrated in this photo, those women, they all carry pitchers of water on their heads. So 他们头上顶着水，那顶 it is used as a verb, means carry something on the head. 顶. And it can also be used to illustrate to push something below or behind. For example, 嫩芽把土顶起来了 The sprouts have pushed up the earth. 你们也可以想象，嫩芽其实是在土下面的。当它在成长的时候，它会把土顶起来。So the sprouts originally it was underneath the earth, and when it's growing, it's pushing up the earth from below. So it's pushed something below or behind. So 嫩芽把土顶起来了。You also know this thing on the image, in the image on the right side, a lifting jack. Lifting jack is to jack a car from below. 那中文里面我们管这个东西叫做千斤顶，千斤顶 lifting jack, meaning like it can jack something that is even like 1,000 斤. And another meaning with 顶, it means hit with your head, hit with your head. Maybe you all know this saying is about Zidane. So 齐达内在世界杯决赛中用头顶了马特拉齐。Zidane headed Materazzi in the World Cup final. Zidane headed Materazzi. 齐达内用头顶 hit with your head. It can also be used to describe the animals. For example, the bull gored a person. 那这个头牛用它的脚顶了一个人。那作为一个引申的含义呢，顶其实还有 to go against, to move forwards 含义。For example, 这只小鸟顶着强风站着。The little bird was standing against the strong wind. To go against, right? 顶着，其实你也是用头在顶嘛，对吧？只不过你顶的这个东西其实是 high pressure or strong wind, something that prevents you from moving forward, but you still go against it and move forward. So this is the meaning of 顶。For example, 他顶着巨大的压力完成了这个工作。He completed the job under tremendous pressure. 顶着压力，顶着强风。那下一个词我们要回顾一下的是惭愧。So the next vocabulary that we are going to review is 惭愧。It is an adjective which means to be ashamed. So when I mean feel ashamed, you feel ashamed because you have shortcomings, you did something wrong, or you failed to fulfill your responsibilities. So in these cases, you can say that 我很惭愧。For example, 我不认识这个字，真的非常惭愧。I don't know this character. I am really ashamed. So normally, like you are supposed to understand, you are supposed to know this character, but actually, it turns out to be that you don't know it. So in this scenario, it's like fall in the scenario that you fail to fulfill your responsibilities. So you can say 我非常惭愧。下一个，我很惭愧，只做了一点微小的工作。I am ashamed for having done only a little job. 那这个里面其实你很惭愧，是因为 you only did a little job. You should have done more. 那我很惭愧 I only have done a little. The next vocabulary that we are going to review is 委屈。委屈 as stated before, it's an adjective meaning feeling wronged. Or to put it more explicitly, it's you feel 委屈 because you feel uncomfortable being treated unfairly or accused of something that you haven't done before. For example, 她委屈地哭了。She cried aggrievedly. 那这个里面，她之所以委屈的原因，可能是因为她根本就没有做这个事情。So the reason why she felt 委屈 maybe because she haven't done this, but like she was accused of having done this. So you can say she cried aggrievedly. 那我没有做错，老板却把我骂了一顿，真是太委屈了。I did nothing wrong, but the boss scolded me, which made me feel really wronged. 这个是 I was treated unfairly, something that I haven't done before, so I feel 委屈。委屈。And as a verb, you can say 让谁谁谁委屈 or 委屈谁谁谁委屈 somebody or 让谁谁谁感到委屈。 to do somebody wrong or to treat somebody unfairly. 今天晚上没有时间做饭，只能吃快餐了，委屈你了。So I don't have time to cook tonight. We can only eat fast food. Sorry for putting you to such inconvenience. 委屈你了，委屈 somebody, right? 条件不好，委屈大家了。The conditions are not good. I am sorry to treat you all unfairly. 那委屈大家了。So you can see when 委屈 is used as a verb, you can just put the 对象 the object after 委屈. Normally it's somebody 委屈 somebody. 让谁谁谁感到委屈。For example, 条件不好，让大家委屈了。It work as well. Or 委屈你了 it equals to 让你委屈了。Okay, next. 病 it can be used as a combining verb. It's used to connect verbs. In this structure, the two verbs should be of equal importance. And when 病 means moreover, however, in this case, it will be replaced with 并且. So when you use 病, the simple character, it should be used to connect verbs that are of equal importance. The structure should be verb phrase 1 and plus 病, and verb phrase 2. So pay attention here, when you use 病, it should be used to connect verbs. And when you connect nouns, normally it should be 和. That's the major difference between 和 and 病. 病 is to be used to connect verbs, and 和 is to be used normally with nouns. But 和 can also be used to connect verbs as well. It's just like when you are using 病, it cannot be used to connect nouns. Okay, so the first example, 我同意, the first verb, 并支持, the second verb, 你的决定. I agree with and support your decision. 我同意并支持你的决定. The second example, 脱欧后，英国需要跟很多国家进行贸易谈判，并签订贸易协议。脱欧后，英国需要跟很多国家进行贸易谈判，并签订贸易协议。那这个里面的两个 verb， 一个是进行贸易谈判 and the second one is 签订贸易协议。So after leaving Europe, Britain will have to negotiate and sign trade agreements with many countries. And 并 can also be used to emphasize a negative sentence that uses 不 or 没. Because you are emphasizing a negation, 并 is often used when expressing disagreements or pointing out a flaw in someone's argument. You can take pretty much any sentence with a negative verb and give it a little extra kick with 并. So just put the negative feeling a little bit more when you are using 并. The structure should be subject plus 并 plus 不 and plus verb or an adjective, or subject plus 并 plus 没 or 没有 plus a verb. For example, 在中国创业不容易，并不容易，有很多挑战。In China, starting a business really isn't easy. There are a lot of challenges. 那我们大家也可以看到，你可以首先先说，在中国创业不容易。So it's not easy to start business in China. And when you put 并 here, it is actually not that easy. So you see the difference between these two. The second example, 她结婚5年了，也生了一个孩子，但她并不爱她的丈夫。She's been married for 5 years and she has a baby, but she doesn't love her husband at all. If you want to say, 也生了一个孩子，但她不爱她的丈夫, you are just stating a fact that she doesn't love her husband. And if you add 并，她并不爱她的丈夫, You just add a little bit of degree to it. She doesn't love her husband at all. You see a difference between these two. 你这样做其实并没有解决客户的问题。What you didn't actually solve our clients' problems at all. 你这样做 what you did 其实并没有 actually didn't solve our client's problem at all, to reinforce a little bit the degree of negation. So, as used in the lesson 4, 他并不感到满意. So it's using this this usage. 他并不感到满意. He isn't feeling satisfied, right? 并不. And as we said about filial piety, it is a virtue of respect for one's parents, elders, and ancestors, and is a very important virtue in Chinese culture, or I would say East Asian culture, or those cultures which favored Confucianism, because it is really, really important in the composition of the society and the families. For the character itself, as you can see on the right image here, so before the character xiao is written in this way, and on the upper side it's like an older person, and on the lower side it's like a son. And in the simplified form, you can see here already, like on the upper side is the upper side of lao, which means old, and on the lower side it's zi, the son. So it's like an elder being carried a son. So this indicates also that the elder generation should be supported by the younger generation. So from the form of the character itself, you can already feel what the filial piety means. And to give you more explanations towards this ideology, filial piety is considered as a key virtue in Chinese and other East Asian cultures, and it is also the main subject of many stories. In more general terms, filial piety means to be good to one's parents, to take care of one's parents, to engage in good conduct, not just towards parents, but also outside the home, so as to bring a good name to one's parents and ancestors. So, which means to honor the name of your family, to show love, respect, and support, to display courtesy, to ensure male heirs, uphold fraternity among brothers. Yeah, but this is like in the ancient China, all right? Wisely advise one's parents, including dissuading them from moral unrighteousness, display sorrow for their sickness and death, to bury them and carry out sacrifices after their death. So you see, it's all relevant to the conduct towards your own parents and your ancestors. So what you do is not only linked to yourself, but also to your family, to the fame of your family. It is really important in a culture as the Chinese culture, which it reinforces a lot on the relationship between people, because in our culture we tend to pay much more attention to the relationship among people. So you see, xiao is kind of the virtue that consolidate this ideology. Maybe to give you more illustration, there was a new Disney film that went out recently, which is Mulan. And before it was also a very famous animation, and it was written based on an ancient Chinese story. 是一个中国的传说故事改编而成的一个电影。那这个里面呢，大家也可以看到这个木兰的这把剑上面 on the sword of the 木兰 there are 3 characters at the very beginning, which is 忠勇真, so to be true, so to be loyal, to be brave, and to be true, to be sincere. But later on, with the unfolding of the story, she has the 4th character on her sword, which is xiao, filial piety. And if you haven't watched the film Mulan recently, you must have seen the animation itself. And if you still remember the story, um, so first of all, it was the father of Mulan who was called on duty, but he cannot really participate because her father was a disabled man and he was already very old. But he still wanted to get engaged into the army because he wanted to honor the fame of his family, which is the family of Hua. That's why her father originally accepted the offer to get engaged in the army, even though he was not able to, because he put the fame of his family over his own life. So this is already the first representation of his filial piety to his family. And later on, when Mulan, even though she is a girl, but she also wanted to show filial piety to her father. So what she did is she disguised herself as a man and she took the sword of her father, and then she got engaged in the army, um, replacing her father. So this is the way she showed her filial piety to her father, as well as to honor the fame of the Hua family. And if you still remember, there was a little dragon, right, in the animation. And the little dragon in the animation represents the ancestor uh, of the family Hua, and the dragon saved Mulan from very dangerous scenarios. So it's also an idea to state that when you honor the fame of your own family, that your ancestor will also safeguard yourself. I know it's quite complex, but in the Chinese culture, when we thought of family, when we thought of ancestors, these came into our mind naturally. So I hope with these explanations you will know more about filial piety and you understand it more clearly. So, related to xiao, this character, there are three vocabularies that we need to know now, and you have to uh, know how to use it. So, as adjective, it's 孝顺, meaning filial. So, for example, 他的孩子特别孝顺，给他买了一辆车。Her child is very filial, and he bought her a car. 这个是中国现代 in modern China how the children show filial respect to their parents, but it's not necessary that you have to buy a car to your parents. It's just a way that you show your filial piety to your filial respect to your parents. 孝顺形容一个人很孝顺是孝顺 to show filial 形容一个人很 filial 是孝顺。The second vocabulary, 孝敬, it's a verb, meaning showing filial respect for example, 子女有义务孝敬父母，尊重父母的意愿。The children have the duty to show filial respect to their parents and respect their wishes. Show filial respect for, meaning in Chinese it's 孝敬。那孝心 it's a noun, meaning filial piety, love, and devotion to one's parents. And the classifier for this noun is 一片。这份礼物也是孩子的一片孝心，你就收下吧。This gift is also a representation of the filial piety of the child, so just to receive it. 孝心，那孝敬和孝心，一般我们也说它其实是针对你的父母的，对不对？But in modern, normally like when we say 孝敬 and 孝心, as we stated, it's always towards your parents. But with the unfolding of the Chinese history, it can also be used in scenarios that especially like during the Qing dynasty, before the modern Chinese society, there are some officials, and you have the subordinates of these officials, because these subordinates, they wanted to get higher rewards from their officials. So maybe they will just brag them, right? So when they are bragging them, they can say, 请收下我的一片孝心吧. So please receive my filial piety towards you. So in that case, you can consider, normally like 孝心 is used towards their parents, but it's also used by some people, by the subordinates who want to brag their higher officials. So there's another scenario that we use it, but in modern Chinese society, we don't use it anymore because it's really related to bragging officials, and it's not very well perceived. And nowadays, we tend to use 孝心 and 孝敬 only towards our parents. But the reason why I explained to you about this is because maybe in literature later on, you will find out, like in the Qing dynasty or in the Ming dynasty, there are some people that will say, 这个是我孝敬您的一种方式呀，大老爷. So this is one way that I show you my filial piety, my honored official. So that's quite ironic, and that's not used anymore in modern society. And now, please take a piece of paper and prepare yourself with a pen as well. We are going to do a dictation of the vocabularies of the fourth lesson. And I'm going to repeat 3 times the vocabularies. You are going to listen to it and then write it down on your own paper. Later on, after the dictation, I will show you the right results, right answers, sorry. So you will compare them with what you have written yourselves and see like how you master them. Okay. Every time when I said about the Chinese character, I will also explain to you the English translation. So to reinforce a little bit your memory of these vocabularies, I think it's helpful for you all. If once I said a Chinese character or vocabulary that you cannot really remind of the meaning, that means you have to go back and then to repeat the studying procedures again. That's on yourself, and I trust you for that. Okay. The first vocabulary, 背 is a verb meaning carry something on the back. 背 子路背米, 子路 carrying the rice. Okay, 背. 从前 so meaning long time ago. And the major difference between 从前 and 以前, what is it? Yeah, you have to put an exact time before 以前. But 从前, it just used to state something that happened very, very long time ago. 从前. 流传至今 So normally it means that something, a story that has been handed on until now. 流传至今. A legend that has been handed on until now. 这个故事流传至今，这个传说流传至今。The next, 农民 So the peasants, 农民。大家要把农民和农村分开啊。农村是 countryside, 农民是那个人，是 the people who work in the countryside. 农民 peasants, farmers. 农民。惭愧 那这个是我们刚才提到过的，是什么意思？ Yeah, ashamed. You feel ashamed because you haven't fulfilled the duty that you are supposed to. 惭愧。Next， 决心，决心，决心。Make up one's mind to do something， 决心做某事哈，决心做某事，决心。Next， 委屈，委屈，委屈。And as we just said, it has two different usages, as an adjective and as a verb, meaning feel wronged or put somebody into an inconvenience unfairly, treat somebody unfairly. 委屈，委屈。Next， 勤奋，勤奋，勤奋。Which is an adjective meaning diligent, diligent, 勤奋。The next， 老实，老实，老实。Which means obedient, right? Obedient. 老实。Next， 滑，滑，滑。It has two different usages. As a verb, it means to slide, and as an adjective, it means slippery. 滑，滑。Next， 甩，甩，甩。To swing something, 甩。Next， 顶，顶，顶。我们刚才提到过了，头顶，顶峰，一顶帽子，用头顶，顶着水壶，顶着强风，顶着压力，顶。Next， 扶，扶，扶。To support somebody with hands, support the other people with hands to get across the street. 扶老人过马路，扶。本领，本领，本领。Capabilities， 本领。Next， 人才，人才，人才。Talents， talents。Next， 反而，反而，反而。On the contrary, on the contrary, 反而。诚恳，诚恳，诚恳。Sincere, sincere, 诚恳的语气 in a sincere tone. 诚恳，诚恳的态度 sincere attitude. Next， 成就，成就，成就。Accomplishment, achievements, sorry, achievements, accomplishments, 成就，成就。Next， 孝顺，孝顺，孝顺。Filial, filial, adjective, filial, 孝顺。And the final one， 占，占。To occupy, to take up, 占，占。So how do you feel about these vocabularies? These are the right answers. Please take some time to please pause a little bit and take some time to compare what you have written to those listed on the screen. and then to see how you master these vocabularies, as the lesson 4 will officially be ended here. So please take care of these vocabularies carefully, and I will see you in the next lesson, lesson 5. Okay, don't forget to listen to the general audio firstly, and then uh, see the first video of the explanation of the lecture. Okay, see you later.